Masquerades are scary, but bills shouldn't scare you. Be one of 10,000 lucky winners when you deposit multiples of 400 Ghana.
Welcome back to Business Focus here on TV3 with me, Michael Obodu, and just gone past were some financial tidbits from EcoBank. Now, every day people face different emergencies: police emergency, fire emergency, medical emergency, you name it. But many Ghanaians don't know their emergency numbers. Well, here's one you would always want to remember: *770#. Yes, *770# is a new EcoBank money emergency number. *770# gives you instant access to loans, fund transfers, utility payments, airtime and data purchases, and so much more, even without data. So there's no need for you to panic when you find yourself in any money emergencies. EcoBank will always come to your rescue. Dial *770# now for solutions to your money emergencies. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank and proud sponsor of Business Focus, as well as Telecel. Well, now to our topic for today. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board, Cedi has dismissed claims of operational losses. According to him, Gold Board has not made losses, but rather surpluses. He spoke on key points over the weekend.
The impression is being created by some, not your panelists per se, but by some, as though the Gold Board has made losses and is shying away from acknowledging that it has made losses. Alfred, the Gold Board is not a typical commercial venture established for the main purpose of making profits. The Gold Board is a strategic corporation with two objects: foreign exchange generation for the country and supporting gold reserve accumulation by the Bank of Ghana. And that is why, if you look at the Gold Board Act, nowhere in the Act is the word profit used, rather the word surplus is used. We are mandate-driven and not necessarily profit-driven. And so if we even make losses in the discharge of our mandate, we'll be very happy to concede that and to show how that loss came about and the benefits of that loss, if any. And so nobody is shying away from losses. Facts are sacrosanct. The Gold Board is barely 8 months old. Per Section 76 of the Gold Board Act, it took over the assets, liabilities, contracts of the defunct Precious Minerals Marketing Company. So for the first year that the Gold Board has been in operation, our financials are available. We have not made losses. We have rather made surpluses. And we have published our financials as required by law, our quarterly financials on our website. And anybody can go and check.
So that was Sami Jemfi. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board there, reiterating his points that Gold Board has not made any losses, but rather surpluses. He states that Gold Board is not an entity established for making profits, but to generate forex for the country. But the question is, how do you generate profits, or forex rather, in a very volatile system without taking a hit? Benjamin Sia is the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSE. Thank you so much for joining us, Ben. You've heard the CEO of Gold Board. What does CEMSE think of this?
First of all, I think that it is true that Gold Board might not have made losses, but a report from IMF indicates that the Bank of Ghana has made losses due to its activity with Gold Board, and that is what the emphasis must be placed on. And I think that his next comment indicating that it's not entirely a profit-driven institution must also be taken in caution, because in a volatile situation, it is likely going to affect either the Bank of Ghana or the Ministry of Finance with this fiscal policy. So we should not just be driven by mandate, but we also should ensure that there's some form of profitability that will go a long way to sustain our economy. Because if we continue to say it's because we want to increase reserve, then it means that in future, when we continue to procure gold, increase reserve without benchmarking or controlling the purchase of these reserves, if in future prices fall to certain levels, it's likely going to affect our ability to sustain the reserve and also our ability to even support forex. So I think we should be very careful in terms of taking some of these risks.
But some argue that, well, this was expected, because if you are buying gold from small-scale miners at spot market price, you expose yourself to international market volatility. So this isn't surprising. Don't you agree?
I do agree with them, and that is why I think that earlier there should have been an agreement, a very broader stakeholder engagement with the market, indicating that there could be some discount on gold purchased locally, at least maybe 1% or 2% discount on locally purchased gold would have helped to ensure that at any point in time, sports risks are taken care of. However, if you are purchasing or procuring the gold at spot, anytime there's a hitch or a volatile situation on the market, especially when prices reduce, it's likely going to affect our ability to match the prices abroad. The second part also is that I think Gold Board also needs, and that also comes to Bank of Ghana needs, a good hedging policy. I think that if they had a good hedging policy like what has been happening in the petroleum sector, maybe some of these risks will not be incurred because at any time, such risk analysts will ensure that they take such hedging policies that will benefit Gold Board and also the Bank of Ghana.
Interesting. I have in studio with me the Greater Accra chairman of the Ghana Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Chonam Akpelo. Chonam, thank you so much for your time. Some have also argued that, well, the end justifies the means. If government or the Bank of Ghana took some losses to ensure that we have the stability we enjoy today, then it's justifiable. Where do you as industry sit with this?
Well, good evening to your cherished listeners and Merry Christmas. So I would just like to say that for us in industry, we're big on the result. As you said, we really want to see a very stabilized foreign currency regime. And so to that extent, yes, we're happy to continue to see that. We're not very much involved in the politics of things, of who said what and who make profit and loss and so on. Yes, mandates have to be respected, and so, but for us, we're really keen on the result. So we will leave the politics for the politicians to deal with, while we focus on the industry.
But you are pleased with the results?
Yeah, so far the forex market has been fairly stable. I mean, since the beginning of the year, we can say that, I mean, it's been good. It's been good. I mean, moving in from 17 all the way to 10, 11, 12, thereabout, I believe that it's been good for industry.
It's been good for industry. Okay,
Yes.
so you agree with the narrative that, well, some losses may not be too bad if we are stable as a country?
So that's what I'm saying. I don't have the competence to discuss the political merits of all of these.
That is fair. But I'll come back to you, Ben. We do know that the World Bank is projecting that global commodity prices are tipped to go down even further next year. We're already seeing signs of it, and that is part of what is accounting for the losses that we are talking about with regards to gold trading and the Bank of Ghana. It clearly shows that if some stopgap measure is not put in place, this narrative could get worse next year.
I think that is why we should ask ourselves how much loss would the Bank of Ghana be able to absorb, looking at its historical trend of making huge losses, and how much will that loss impact our economy. I think that needs to be addressed, and we need to have a benchmark on that. We shouldn't say yes because it's a mandate-driven institution. If you are making loss, the losses are expected, and for that matter, we should make them. But how much loss are we talking about here that the fiscal side, which is the Ministry of Finance or the Bank of Ghana, will be able to absorb? And we should also be careful if we don't speak on data. Yes, the Cedi is stable, but is it only because of the shoring up of forex? Is it only because of gold board? There could be other external factors that have caused the Cedi to also be stable. So those factors, if you are discussing, we must also look at them. For example, if you look at one of the major reasons why our Cedi continues to depreciate is because of imported higher prices of some products that we bring into the country. For example, petroleum. Petroleum used to do about $400 million a month. But today, as we speak, it's likely going to do around $200 million a month because a product that we're procuring in 2022 at about $1,300, $1,600 per metric. Today, we are doing around $670 per metric. So you may not need those huge monies you need in 2022 to import similar products in 2025. So when we argue that the Cedi is stable, the Cedi has appreciated, it may not be totally as a result of gold board. So I think those things, the Bank of Ghana and the gold board themselves must do some of these analysis. And if we do them carefully, we may know whether the loss that Bank of Ghana has made as a result of this particular gold trading is affecting our economy more than the revenue or the dividend is yielding on the stability or appreciation of the cedi. I think that should be clear. Aside that too, I think that Ghana has also decided in a way to do some form of import substitution, where our demand for even environmental products or capital goods meant for the environment, for example, excavators and other things, there are certain policy decisions taken by government that has caused reduction in their import. And if you are reducing the import of these goods into the country, we may not need such huge dollars to import them. So there could be other factors that are also supporting the stability and appreciation of the cedi, other than the gold bar. So we need to do such thorough analysis and then make sure that if today we are making $240 million, will the economy be able to sustain $500 million because gold bar is a mandate driven? I think those analysis needs to be done. And I think the Bank of Ghana has not done as good by bringing such broader conversation and analysis on the reasons why the cedi is stable or appreciation against the dollar.
But I think at least on face value, you can say that the gold board conversation has played a role in the stability. We can't write that out entirely because at least it's made the forex available, which is another leg to the cedi stability. But I get your point. The other conversation is the fact that really the one way out of this whole quagmire is to ensure that we add value to our gold. I know the gold board had mentioned that there were plans to set up a refinery, but in the short to medium term, how long would it take to set up such a refinery for us to begin to see the impact on the economy, from your estimation?
I think it depends on policy. If you look at Burkina Faso and other countries that wanted to set up a refinery based on policy and commitment, I think they did that in a year. If government is committed to ensuring that there's beneficiation of value addition to our gold, I think that should be in 6 months if the resources are available. And I think that should be the focus of that should be the focus of Bank of Ghana in terms of procuring some of these gold locally and adding value to them, so that even if there's that volatility on the international market, it doesn't affect the price of these products much. And we could create a larger West African market for these produce, especially if we do have certain symbols and artifacts that we could convert these gold into, where we could get patronage from Nigeria and other economies within the West Africa. So we could do it in 6 months if government is committed and government makes resources available. Unfortunately for us, I think the other challenge that we've not spoken about because of these huge losses is the lack of commitment by the finance minister. If you heard the finance minister, he mentioned that he was going to allocate certain huge, almost $240 million to gold board to do $249 million rather to gold board to do these procurement or purchases of gold locally. That money has not been sent to gold board. If you look at the budget, we expected that finance minister said they were going to allocate about 4.7 billion Ghana cedis. As at the third quarter, or even as at the reading of the 2026 budget, such allocations have not been made. So it has always been Bank of Ghana, and we cannot continue to allow the Bank of Ghana incur some of these risks. It's very dangerous to their future ability to stabilize the currency. So if the finance minister is also committed and very intentional about setting up certain value addition industry or refinery, I think that it's incumbent on them to look for resources and allocate these resources to gold board to do this particular activity.
Thank you so much, Benjamin Sia. He's the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. This is Business Focus here on TV3 with me, Michael Obodu. We'll go for a quick breather. When we come back, we'll continue on to our next topic. Stay tuned.
Asking you to verify sensitive information like your PIN, Ghana card, or bank card information. Pay better attention to details.
My life has been transformed from today.
Welcome back, and this is Business Focus here on TV3 with me, Michael Obudu, as we're bringing you our final edition of the show for 2025. Now, as the year draws to a close, Ghana's economy has emerged as a standout performer in sub-Saharan Africa, successfully transitioning from a state of crisis management to one of stabilized growth. On the 60th anniversary of the Cedi, the nation celebrates not just a milestone of age, but a fundamental shift in its macroeconomic trajectory. The most visible success of this year has been the remarkable recovery of the local currency. After 3 decades of annual depreciation, the Cedi broke its jinx by appreciating approximately 32% year to date against the US dollar. Well, joining us virtually is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Clement Boateng, the newly sworn-in president. And he and his outfit have been vocal over the years with regards to the issue of the Cedi and its depreciation. Mr. President, thank you for joining us. The Cedi ending the year at about 32% appreciation must be nothing less but very good news for you as GUTA members, not so? Mr. Bing, if you can hear us. Okay, so we're trying to sort that out and then reconnect with Clement Boateng, president, newly sworn-in president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. But then in 2025, the Bank of Ghana under Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama steered Ghana's monetary policy through a period of notable macroeconomic adjustment, from significant foreign reserve builds to strategic policy rate decisions and new regulatory frameworks. The central bank's actions marked a key year in stabilizing the macro economy and restoring confidence.
After holding a tight monetary stance early in the year to anchor inflation expectations and stabilize the currency, the Bank of Ghana progressively cut its policy rate as inflation eased. The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, reduced the benchmark rate from 28% to 25% in mid-year and later down to 21.5% by September, and closed the year at 18%, reflecting strengthening macroeconomic conditions and a sustained disinflation trend.
From where we stand, we believe that the 350 basis point is enough. Remember, we've now settled, very well within the, the target band, and we will be observing these going forward.
These moves contributed to credit conditions improving, better lending prospects, and a more optimistic outlook for businesses and households. A major highlight was the rapid build-up of Ghana's foreign exchange reserves throughout 2025, from around $10.7 billion mid-year. External buffers continued to strengthen, projected to exceed $13 billion by year-end, covering well over 4 months of imports. The strong external position was supported by a trade surplus exceeding $6 billion, buoyed by increased earnings from gold and cocoa exports.
Gross reserves, on the other hand, have risen to over $11 billion US, which are equivalent to 4.8 months of imports cover. And these are projected to reach 5 months by the year end.
The Ghana Cedi appreciated strongly against major currencies during large segments of 2025, a turnaround from past volatility. The Cedi's improvement bolstered confidence, though market dynamics remained sensitive to global and domestic developments. Beyond price and exchange stability, the bank focused on financial sector health. Dr. Esiama announced an objective to reduce non-performing loans, NPLs, to 10% by end 2026, down from elevated levels, underscoring efforts to strengthen lending standards and bank resilience.
So that was basically a report on the interventions of the Bank of Ghana and its role in the macroeconomic stability that we've enjoyed over the period. We're still trying to connect with Clement Boateng, president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully this time we can hear you. So for you as Guta, how has this year been for you, judging by the macroeconomic stability that you've enjoyed all throughout the year? Please unmute your microphone for us, sir. Okay, we're still trying to resolve the technical challenges with Clement Boateng, but we have in studio with us the Greater Accra chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Chunam Akbelo. Chunam, I know you have spoken extensively about the stability of the Cedi, but the next question is, how do we sustain this going to 2026, especially when some of the nitty-gritty macroeconomic challenges still persist? High import levels, high demand for forex.
Great. So thank you once again for having me. Yet now that we're discussing and reviewing the year, it's important to mention some of the things that have been achieved during the course of the year. I mean, if you follow our advocacy for the past 4 years or so, or even more, you see that we've been very big on issues of inflation, where inflation got even up to about 53% and so on. So for us to have been able to bring inflation down to, I think, as at November, it's about 8.6, 6.3%. That's significant.
And there's even the governor of the Bank of Ghana hinted that we could end the year at about 5%.
Yes. So for us, that's really significant, given the volatility in prices of the goods and services we produce. Then also, it's important to mention about the policy rate. You see that over the years, this 2025, it has gone down significantly. Hopefully, it will translate into the actual interest rate we face when we go to the commercial banks. But very importantly is the issue with the taxes. So we've had several taxes that we've talked about. The major amount then have been the VAT. And the good news is that the finance minister during the last budget reading, mentioned that they are going to recalibrate the VAT to reflect what we've been demanding. Our hope is that when the implementation begins next year, we will see real transformation in the VAT that will benefit industry directly. Of course, the famous e-levy is gone, and the COVID-19 levy, all of them have gone. There has been the 1.5% levy on gold processing is removed. It's been abolished. The emissions levy has been abolished. So really, all of this we've talked about. The new government have introduced some taxes, like the 1 Cedi on every liter of fuel purchased at the pump. But we understand, because the government also needs to make money to do the things they promised to do. So overall, it's been great. The question now is, going forward, are they able to sustain these gains? And so for us in industry, that's our interest. Our interest is to make sure that all of this is not a one-day wonder, as it has been in the past. We want to see that the benefits that have been announced so far will go a long way to help industry. And that's why the 24-hour economy has been critically important to us in AGI. We've had several meetings, and it's been great. They've simplified it really well. Growth 24, Build 24, Move 24, and all of that. It's great. And also they promise that if you are setting up a factory in Ghana, and then you are coming under the 24-hour economy initiative, you could be exempted from paying import duties if you are bringing machinery and so on. Our big challenge, however, is we are yet to see any law backing all of these claims. These are just words. But you can't go to GRA and say to them, we've heard on radio that you receive exemption, so they should give you. We need a law that will help us to achieve some of these things. And our hope is that by the first quarter of next year, the government will be able to promulgate the necessary laws to allow us to benefit fully from the 24-hour economy policy program. So overall, I would say that it's been great in terms of the tax reliefs, even though they've introduced some of the taxes, as I mentioned, also about if you take the insurance industry, I think they've introduced a 15% VAT on non-life goods. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, given the circumstances we find ourselves. But overall, it's been great, and we look forward for a more sustained economic gains during the next year. Yeah.
Interesting. So far, so good. It's been positive from how you say it's been great.
Yes, I mean, you have been on this journey with us, how we've been fighting for some of these things to be done. So we are saying that, look, so far, given where we're coming from, it's fairly okay, and we're happy about the result.
Sure.
Our interest now is to see how this is sustained. But you can't take out the role of IMF, though.
Yeah.
We know that IMF have been doing some good work in ensuring that some of these policies are implemented to the full whole. Our view is that if IMF would decide to go eventually, which they will, what is the future of the economy? So these are some of the things that we need assurances from government to ensure that industry continue to plan in a manner that we can sustain the things we do.
To make sure that we don't retrogress with the macroeconomic gains we've made. We finally have Clement Boateng, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Clement, how has 2025 been for you as the trading community?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, if you look at where we were and where we are now, I would say things are pointing to the right direction. If you look at all the macroeconomic indicators, they are all pointing to the right direction. And the issue now is how to sustain this positive macroeconomic indicators. What we have seen over the years is that whenever we sign on an agreement with IMF, we do perform better. But then when IMF is no more, everything is thrown overboard, and then we come to a zero. So my worry is that the government should continue, to implement good policies. Government should continue to check its expenditure. Government should continue to work on its monetary and then fiscal policy and make sure that all these positive indicators that we've been able to chalk this year will not be a 9-day wonder, as my friend, suggested. What I am amazed about also had to do with what the governor of Bank of Ghana recently said, that his ambition is to try as much as possible, to let lending rates be achieved on a single digit. If he's able to do that, my brother, then everything will be okay. Because I don't remember the last time that lending rate was, being worked on a single digit. So if he's able to do that, and then we are able to, procure facility at a single rate, a single digit rate, it will go a long way, to help both industry and then the commerce, so that we will be able, to go in for financing and then expand our businesses to be able to employ more people. So I will say everything is pointing to the right direction, and it is incumbent on government to continue, to implement prudent measures so that the gains that we have been achieved this year, will not be whittled down in 2026.
Interesting one there. And talking about the issue of the policy rates, the central bank governor has earlier hinted that his plan for his tenure is to at least have it around 10% or lower before he leaves office. Fitch Solutions already projecting that next year we could see the policy rate in the region of 15%. But for you as industry, I'm sure that would be a big deal for you, right?
Yes, because as I speak, we still borrow around 24% thereabout, which is easily the highest.
24%?
Thereabout.
Wouldn't that be debatable? Because the policy rate as we speak is somewhere around 17.5%.
Yes, but of course the bank add their risk percentage and so on. There are many things that go into the calculation of the eventual interest rate. So policy rate is one, but the commercial banks have their own right.
But we have to check
fix.
that 24% because it sounds quite high. Because
no, I mean some even borrow at much as 36%.
Oh no! Okay, well, maybe we need the Association of Banks to respond to this.
Yeah.
The
No,
last time we were on the show, they actually
industry,
made us understand that the industry lending rate they use is somewhere in the range of about 15.5%.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Show me where they.
Well, according to what they say, but you're on the market,
yes.
so
this is the reality. The reality is that, yes, I mean customers that commercial banks have very good relations with, like big companies, Nestle and so on. I imagine they will borrow like 15% because the risk levels are very low.
No.
But for an ordinary SME on the streets of Accra, and mind you, the business landscape is largely dominated by small-scale businesses. Over 80% of our businesses are small-scale. So these are the guys we're speaking about. Okay, so this guy, when he goes to the bank, you cannot get 15%. The risk levels are so high, and they are the guys we are talking about, and they go for about 24% to up to 36%. And these are the realities you can always check. But what we are saying is, if they're able to bring down the policy rate significantly, then I think it will be good for us. Already, I've seen some tailored financial solutions in the market, sponsored by donors and so on, that reduce, the interest rate significantly, up to 12%. But for specialized, interventions, like let's say a facility for women, women facility for agriculture, it could go as low as 12%. That's great. But we are talking about a general industry activity that allows for everyone who needs financing to go to the market and borrow.
I know if I allow you, you'd go on and on because this whole policy rate thing is of grave importance for you as industry people. But in a landmark economic shift, the Cedi has ended 2025 with a staggering 32% appreciation against the dollar, breaking a 3-decade-long cycle of annual depreciation. The historic performance coincides with the 60th anniversary of the local currency, which was first introduced in 1965 to replace the British West African pound.
The depreciation jinx, which saw the Cedi lose value against the greenback every year for 30 consecutive years, was officially declared broken as the year-end exchange rate settled significantly stronger than its January opening. The Cedi has evolved for the past 60 years in various forms, including denominations. A currency must serve as a store of value. While some fluctuation is normal, a good currency should generally maintain its purchasing power over time. The Cedi had its own way of disproving that it has to be a store of value, as it has weakened against the dollar each year from 1994 to 2024. Since the mid-1990s, the Cedi has been synonymous with perennial decline. However, the 2025 data tells a different story, with the Cedi appreciating some 32% year-to-date. Finance and tax expert Nelson Kujoku-Agbaji recounts factors that led to the Cedi depreciating each year in the last 30 years.
Inflationary pressures that we have witnessed in the past, fiscal deficit and high public debt, trade imbalance is also another factor, low foreign exchange reserve, and finally unfavorable sovereign rating all contributed towards the depreciation of the Ghanaian cedi in the past.
For Ghana to sustain the gains made by the cedi in the short, medium and long term, it is crucial to pursue aggressive industrialization. Economist and coordinator at the University of Ghana Learning Center in Cape Coast, Dr. Hayford Mensah Irakwa, explains.
Government would be very interested in leveraging the current gains we've made and emphasize its motivation or interest to solidifying certain aspects of the economy, i.e. the agri sector, and of course you take a look at the government's own announcement of the 24-hour economy.
Kwagbaji recommends an export-led economy and actively patronizing made-in-Ghana goods to sustain the gains of the cedi.
External sector factors actually contributed towards, the appreciation of the cedi. Fiscal reforms under the IMF program also contributed significantly because the extended credit facility that IMF has been disbursing to Ghana has also helped to shore up our international reserve, and that has actually helped the cedi to remain stable.
Chief economist at the Chartered Institute of Economists Ghana, Gideon Emisa, believes prudent borrowing is key in strengthening the cedi.
Whatever they are doing, they should keep on doing it, and we believe that this will not be a 9-day wonder. And it'll be something that we can always be sure of, and businesses could actually predict the stability of the Cedi.
A stable and strengthened currency signals a more attractive investment environment, potentially leading to increased foreign direct investments and opening new opportunities for business expansion.
So that was basically a report highlighting the Cedi finally breaking away from decades of ending the year depreciating against the US dollar. But then back to you, Clement Boateng, President of GUTA. You've constantly stressed the role of government in all of this in stabilizing the Cedi. But I just want to find out from you too, as GUTA, what is your plan to contribute to this narrative? Because last week on the show, we had the rice farmers lamenting that your members are overbuying imported rice to the detriment of the local industry. Tell us your plan to help strengthen the Cedi by reducing imports and going for local products instead. And I'll come to you too, Chonam, on you also from industry side.
Yeah, Michael,
Yes.
I've always been telling you that if we can get all the products that we import here, there will be no need for members of GUTA, to fly and take this risk to go and purchase goods and then bring them to Ghana here. People have always been talking about patronizing local rice, but the price of the local rice is even more expensive than the foreign one. And what has contributed to the price of the local rice being more expensive than the foreign one is about cost of production. So we have always been saying that government must try as much as possible, to help our factories, because the only way to go is industrialization. Without industrialization, we cannot do anything in this country. So government must try.
It's very easy for you to push the blame on government. I want to know what you are planning to do, because you see, it's very easy for us to say government must do this, government must do that. But you as GUTA, what is your role to transition from just importers to also enter the production value chain and begin to add value to local products in Ghana so that we don't have to import? I dare say that you can finance the rice farmers and help them tackle the issue of access to expensive credit.
Michael, some of our members are already into production. Some of GUTA members are manufacturers. Okay. It is not that we are just interested in the retail business. No. Our ultimate goal is to migrate from retailing into manufacturing. And that is why we are in constant touch with the 24-hour economy, to try as much as possible, to help us so that we will transition from the retail business into manufacturing.
Okay, it's good you said that on national television. So we will be monitoring you and be looking for updates from GUTA on how you are going, on the efforts you are making to become producers and manufacturers and not just importers, so that our Cedi will strengthen. Thank you for making that point. Chona, before we leave, 30 seconds briefly. Going forward, what should Ghana begin to expect from AGI with regards to efforts to stabilize the Cedi?
No, so AGI, our agribusiness sector, is extremely active in promoting local production of the things we need as raw materials. So rice has always been on our radar, and we're pushing for policies that will ensure that we produce and consume rice locally. And so for Clement to continue to claim that, they have ideas about wanting to buy local rice, just buy it. Like, look, all the countries that have been able to make it, they have to make a deliberate policy. Recently in Nigeria, Nigeria made a clear policy. You cannot import rice. It was difficult. They struggle, they suffer, but now they are self-sustainable.
We have run out of time. But Clement, if such a policy is pushed, would you support it?
Why not? Why not? I've always been saying that even it's about time that we identify, where we have a comparable advantage, so that we could produce those goods in volumes and then even export some to even our neighboring,
so stop importing and just buy the one we produce.
We cannot stop importing. We cannot stop importing because,
all right,
because what AGI
all for today's edition of Business Focus here on TV3. I had in studio with me Chona Makpelu, Greater Accra Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI. Also joining us virtually was the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Clement Boateng. That'll be all for today's edition, the final episode of Business Focus for 2025. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Michael Obodu. Catch you same time next week and next year, and it was a pleasure coming your way. Good evening.
Business Focus is